Okay, so what I think I'm gonna do is I took my template folder, I made a new folder for Batman. And here, let me actually, Batman. This is episode 8. Dun, 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 Batman. So with these, I don't have to update every single time. Just if anything significant changes, I can put it in the archive. And then for the scene, since this is what we're working on every single day, I'll change this one. But I also, oh wait, no. Projects, Blender, models, coasters, Batman. So I need to take all of the old stuff out of here. So yeah, this one. And then because in this project, so in this project you can see that the catwalk wasn't really finished. The supports weren't finished. And you can see that the footers are done here, just not over here. So the beginning of the ride is more complete than the ending of the ride. Also, you'll see that they're all physically like poly modeled. Well, a lot of it is poly modeled. And then also the same thing with the flanges here. They're all manually placed and mirrored and all of that. And then also with these flanges, they don't have all of the same detail that the other rides have. And the reason I did the physical poly modeling is because it was hard to get this angle here until I got an add-on on Gumroad that I added to my support generator. But in order to do that, I kind of have to rebuild this ride in a way. Which kind of sucks that I have to rebuild the ride, because basically what this is right here is it's like a physical mesh of the track, which isn't horrible, but it's not dynamic. I can't, like, I don't have many parameters over here like I did in the other project. Move unit to number. Geometry nodes. Assets, utilities, geometry nodes. Assets, utilities, geometry nodes. Let me open this up. Move to unit. Okay. So it's going to be offset here. Control H. So basically what I'm doing here is making, okay, first of all, I need that on. I'm making it so this can be reusable. So if I ever need to use this again, I'll be able to use it from this file specifically. So I need to put it in a place. Okay. So where are we? Offset default is 0. Okay, unit length is that. The minimum should probably be like 0.8 or something. This is going to be a distance. Offset is also going to be a distance. Not sure if this matters though. Unit start, subtype, percentage factor. Nah. Let's say 2000. Actually, I don't. Let's say 10,000. Subtype. Alright. Geometry is just geometry. Okay. So this is a bit cleaner. Looks a bit cleaner anyway. Maybe I should name this. Also, let me back up a little bit. The whole point of me going back to this project that I've already worked on is because I want to refine this process and make it reusable for all of my other future projects. Maybe put it on Gumroad so anyone else can also join. That would be very fun to have other people doing this as well. It's kind of why I started doing this, because I don't see that many people are doing it, but I think a lot of people would be interested. Let's rename this. Add offset. This is update X value. Move by unit amount. Add offset. I don't know if I like those closed. Alright, there we go. Move by unit. Geometry nodes. I can rename that some other time. Let's do save copy. And we'll put this in tools, utilities, geometry nodes. Slam utility loads or utility nodes. Utility nodes. So from now on, we'll be editing that one instead of this one. I guess we could have left this one alone then. What else do I need? Templates, I believe. What file is this from? Under file. Coaster track. This is all nice that it's like different types of track and it's, but it still feels not as organized. I feel like my computer's blowing up right now. Alright, water break. There we go. There's supports in here? What? So in here, I have a lot of the assets in this this asset browser. And I don't think I'll need an asset browser if I can generate a lot of this with geometry nodes. Not entirely sure how to manipulate geometry with geometry nodes yet, but hopefully I can figure that out so I can make these like gussets and these footers without the footers. I think I might be able to. Gussets, I'll try my best. But typically footers are all square-ish and only exist in one orientation, or at least with their Z rotation directly up. And these base plates, I think I'll be able to place with geometry nodes. So at least all of this I can replace. Also with this, I should be able to replace as well. Maybe. If I can triangulate it correctly. Which... So I'm gonna actually do this. I'm gonna do save as. Actually, no. I'm gonna import. Let's close that. So we're gonna import the track. I think all the support stuff is in this file, but I don't think any of it's relevant. So, is there anything else we need from this old file? Maybe the ground, but yeah, I'll grab the ground. Let's close that. Actually, let's close out all this. And then go to our scenes, Batman layout. So this is the actual Batman file. This will be our main file. Actually, no. I lied. Let's go to our Batman supports. Let's start there. in supports, we'll build the new support system. And scene collection. I forgot to turn on statistics. And yeah, save. So I'm gonna add a curve. Just rotate it on the one. It's about 90. Smooth this over, say 1. Should C2 negative move 1. And then we're going to turn this to spline type poly. Smooth this over. GY1 negative 0.5. There we go. And then here in our old file, in utilities, I believe. No. Fences, flat rides, foliage, fonts, utilities, geometry nodes. Let me open another one. Tools, utilities, utility nodes. Oh, it didn't exist at this point. That's right. Utility nodes. I'm gonna make another blend file. Save. Let me open up a new folder. General. Let's get rid of everything. Geometry nodes editor. So here I'm going to save this under tools, utilities, and this is going to be I can organize this in any way I want. So I'm just gonna call it this support generator. Yeah, support generator. And then here, let me add a plane. And then let me append. Not link, but append. Poltergeist, Blender, support elements, node tree. Ah, so this BB stuff I need to also. So I want to generate flanges, generate supports. Well, generate supports will have generate flanges. Okay. Generate supports. Bum, 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 ba-da-dum, bum, bum. I'm gonna save that. So basically I can use this file and then reference this to every single one instead of having to reference Poltergeist and having these like fins already in there and stuff like that. And I kind of want to recreate this node. Actually, I can just use this one, honestly, but kind of retrofit it to any ride that I need. And I'll go over actually a lot of this. Control H. Grab all of this. Okay. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, try to think, sorry. Generate flanges. What do I need? Bolts. Flange bolts. I don't think I need that. Oh wait. I don't think I need this, is the thing. Okay, let me actually explain what I'm doing. So, when you're creating supports, you're going to use a you're going to use a curve. Which I don't want to work in this file. I go back to Batman supports. And I'm gonna append that file again. Generate supports. And then if I end up liking this one a little bit more, I can replace the old one with this one, but I do want to work in this one. Okay, generate supports. And then let's turn those off. Actually, GY.5. Z1. There we go. Okay, so this time, because I'm not going to have this go straight down like this, it's not going to, the footers need to actually, we need to actually do something about it. But here, you can control the resolution. And 16 currently is the only thing that works with the smoothing, because 8 gives it this look here. But I keep saying I'm going to go over it and I never do. Okay, sorry. When you have a support, you're taking a curve and actually generating everything that you need to generate for supports onto the support right then and there in that instance of the curve. Sometimes you'll need multiple curves. Like if this is not true for this model type, But let's say instead of the track being under like it is in this ride, and let's say the track is over, and you wanted like a support going along in here, you would have a separate curve here. So this would be two curves. You have this curve and then this curve. In this one, you can change the radius of it. Let's do that. So you can see that it's much smaller. I'm also going to change the resolution to 16 just because that's the only thing that works as of right now. And then you can also add in flanges. Oops. Make sure you're on normal. We're moving this around. So I also need to figure out a way because this will not, what I want to do on this will not work in this current configuration. If I turn on flanges, and let's say I want to cull the first and last, it's going to cull the ones that I actually want, and not these. I want these to be culled. So that's what we're going to work on today. Because, oh, whoops, with this one, if you subdivide this one and actually give it some flanges, it's going to work out the way that we expect. Whoops, flanges. So that's going to put a flange there and a flange there, and that works out perfectly because it doesn't have these bends. So I need to figure out how to get rid of these. But I also don't want this to affect projects like Poltergeist when you have a more traditional type of support. I would like it to be able to work on all the different coaster types. And the only way that I can think of as of this point is to subdivide here and make this one and then do coal first. So this is this one would be last, I guess. This is the appearance that I want, but without having to divide it in half. Okay, let's get rid of that. Look at that. So I'm trying to think how we can do this. So now that those are all the parts, you also have, well, since we know that we can use multiple curves and then change the way that the curves are, like here, the differences between the two are basically the radiuses. Let's say on here you wanted the caps to be filled, you can do fill caps, and then of course it's not going to affect this one. So sometimes what you would like to do is do like coal first and last, just the other ones, but not on this curve, which is the reason why you would use multiple curves. Also, this one would have to have footers, which I can toggle, but it's just going to look weird. Actually, hold on. Did I fix that bug? Maybe I already fixed that bug. Oh. Angle 0. I guess the angle isn't working. But also, as you can see, footer is only working on one end, because previously there was only one footer per support, not two. So those are the things that we're going to fix. So you have the actual curves here, which is going to be the static radius, which is a node. This is a node that I bought off of Gumroad, so I can't really share too much about this one. But this basically makes it so, let me go back. This just makes it so, can't turn it off. Let me copy this one. move it negative. Okay. Get rid of this. And let's say, for instance, I wanted to give this a depth. Actually, 0.2, I think is what it's at. Notice this is a 0.2 radius, and this also has a 0.2 radius, but it gets smaller at the corners up here. So in order to keep that radius static, I use that node that I bought off of Gumroad, which is, I think, like $2 or something like that. So that's what this first one is to make sure that the actual support here is static, which, again, I can't really share too much about that because I'm pretty sure that's like illegal or whatever. Anyway, so the next one is the flanges. The flanges are these pieces right over here that, again, I need to make sure do not happen on the curves. But I need to figure out how to do something like that. I think what I need is a toggle that says inverted. Or I don't know, because again, I don't want to have to split this to this side and this side. Because if I did, I would have to switch the direction to get it that way, and then call first, and then call first to get the thing that I wanted, which I think I might end up having to do, because I don't think I'll be able to figure that out. And then, anyway, in the flanges, or also on this node, I'll go over this whole first node first. And then you have the root. What the root does is, let me hide that. If this were more of a traditional ride, and you toggle the root, that would mean that the track would connect to this piece right over here. But this isn't a traditional ride. Let's also unhide that. So let's get rid of root on this one. I'll try. So no footer, but I do want to toggle a root. Let's get rid of those. Those there. Okay, so this is going to be our support that we're working with. And this one here has a root node. And that's what this toggle is, which is basically only half of a flange. And the next group here is generate footers, which are going to be these down here. What I want to do with these footers is make it so, as you can see, there's like only this part here, but it doesn't have the actual box that you kind of, that you kind of see under, like, once it loads. Okay, let me go back a little. So it only has this top part. No, alright. Only has this top part, but it doesn't have this bottom box here, which is, again, something that we need to add. Which can be toggleable on here. That one's 45 as well. And And those are basically all the parts here. And then you put all of those parts together, kind of set them to the material of the actual supports themselves. With the footers, the reason I haven't done that is because if I do want that box under it, it needs to be a separate material, which I don't want to set all of it at that point. After that, I have to click Realize Instances. What that does is make it so when I do say convert to mesh, it actually does convert it into a mesh, because otherwise it will not do this. It will not do this if you don't put Realize Instances there. Also, I have the smooth by angle, because here, if you don't, oh, excuse me, you get this, or at least at most angles, like this part here isn't as pronounced, and then when you add it, it makes that edge really sharp. So again, without it, it kind of looks like a weird, it looks like kind of like a low poly mesh that you're trying to smooth, and it's weird. But then when you put this on, boom, it gives you that sharp edge there. And that's basically this whole root node. And then of course the inputs over here and the things that you can change from the outside at this point. It's a little bit out of order, but you have the resolution, which is 16 should be the default. So let me change that to from 8 to 16. That's kind of what we have our angle set as. Otherwise, you'll see all of these points here. So that's our resolution. You take the radius, which is our, I'll change the radius of this one, which is the thickness of each support here. And 0.2 is usually the default for the projects I use. Typically the roots would be a little bit smaller though. So that's the radius. So we have 3 different radiuses here. We have a radii, whatever. We have 0.2. This one is 0.8. This one is 0.2, 0.18, and then 0.14 meters. The next one is fill caps. Move this down. Fill caps is typically on if you want like this part to stick out. Let me duplicate, parent. Nope. Get rid of the root. So if you wanted to support like that and you want this part to stick out, you'll do fill caps, which is kind of the point, or the only reason I've ever had to use that. Oh, it happens more often than I would like, because when I use fill caps, it also fills the bottom. I haven't fixed it so it only gives you the one cap, because I also don't want to have to fiddle around with which cap to fill, so that can get a bit annoying. So I'm gonna untoggle that down. We also have the material, which again kind of determines the color. Right here it's set to Poltergeist supports, because that was the last project. You have toggle flanges, which turns the flanges on and off. I also have, for flanges, a cull first and cull last, because I know that there's going to be angles. Sometimes there's an angle down here as well. So you can cull the flange that's on that angle. It doesn't cull it because it's on an angle, it culls it because this is 0.1 and this is, or 0.0 and 0.1, and it's culling this first one. And it by default excludes the ends because those are reserved for roots and flanges. So if I can make it cull because it's on an edge, I feel like that would be much easier, so I wouldn't have to use this feature, this cull feature. But that is a little bit more manual. So you have toggle flanges, cull first and last is down here. It's a little bit out of order, but it goes along with the flanges. So if I did cull last, it would get rid of that one because this is the last point before the footer. We also have toggle root, which again is half a flange, usually right next to where the track is. I also need a toggle for square versus circle roots because this ride will not have the same root at all. Angle, which is something I was experimenting with. It doesn't really connect to anything, but what I wanted to do was to control the footer rotation down here, which I already included, so I'm going to get rid of this angle here. Footer just toggles the footers on and off. And I thought I had it in a way where it didn't have the Z up, so I'm glad that it does. So that's one less thing that I have to fix. And then footer rotation is, well, the rotation of the footer. Also what I want to do is make it so the like kind of fins down here match up with this rotation as well. So that's something that I need to fix as well. And those are all the inputs. So for each one on the flanges, I have this here. So I have all these switch nodes, and these basically determine what will happen if a boolean is selected. So cull first. So we're going to be looking at this corner up here. Whoops, let me not click that. So cull first. If this is true, the output is gonna be whatever we do here. So we're gonna have a integer that is going to be added to, like I was saying, this is 0.0, this is 0.1, 0.2, and 0.3. So 0.0, we're not gonna pay attention to because there's never gonna be a flange there. So if cull first is true, you add a 1, but you kind of have to add a 1 because it's a 0 index. And then basically all this math is saying, like, look at this point and then determine whether or not the flange is there based off of this button here. So if anyone is following along, just kind of screenshot that. Same thing with cull last, except is using this point. So this is the very last point, the point right before it would be the technical last point for flanges, and then it would cull that last point. And typically you would use it if this were like that, and it was like a straight up and down piece and you didn't want a flange here, but you did want a flange like in the middle. So cull first, cull last. That's kind of how that works. And then all this rotation math, this looks, I have not cleared this up, tidied it up at all, but all this rotation math basically makes it so that it aligns with the normal of this curve. Because without it, you'll see that it just defaults to Z facing up, but you want the Z to go along like this. And then also you can see it's for all angles, doesn't matter. So this one looks perfectly fine because it's straight up and down, but the rest of them are not. So in order to get that, you kind of have to have two align rotation of vectors going with the curve tangent. And the first one is the Z. And then I just kind of play around with the second rotation settings to see whatever works. Because I'm not a rotation person at all. And then you have a smooth by angle, which I don't even know if I need. Yeah, I don't think I need that anymore because we actually, yeah. So I'm gonna get rid of that. Oh, excuse me. Had to sneeze. Um, Also somewhere in here, I've made it so the bolts and the cylinder themselves are just made out of geometry nodes instead of actually having mesh to do this. I find this is much easier to deal with because, as you can see here, like the radius, this one's the bolts. Instead of manually placing this, it just does it based off the radius of the support itself. So like you can see, like this looks fine, and this looks fine, and this looks fine, and they're all using the same code essentially, but all using different radiuses. So get rid of this object, so you don't need it anymore. And then I just kind of played around with the values. Um, Same thing with the cylinder, the depth and all of that, just kind of whatever looks good. I think 0.1 looks fine. At least a different poltergeist. I might change it. Oh, also, whoops. The inputs that you use, flash bolts doesn't exist anymore. Because I used to have mesh that I would use for this, but I like the dynamic part a little bit better. So of course you have the points, which is, you know, where the point 0, 1, 2, and 3 is. You have coal first, coal last. Vertices is like the resolution. I should probably name it that. Resolution. Toggle flanges, of course. The radius and the resolution. Wait a second. Vertices. What is vertices? Yeah, I have vertices and resolution going in at the same. So let me get rid of vertices. That'll be resolution. Okay, had two of those. That was wild. Okay. For the roots, it is pretty much the exact same, except it's... Actually, it is the exact same, except you don't need the toggle. Wait a second. Control H. There we go. The only difference is you don't need the toggle for call first and last because there's only 2 points on this, and it just needs to be on the end. And the only difference is instead of it being like 0.1 meters thick, it's 0.5 meters thick because it's half of whatever this is. But everything else is pretty much the exact same. Bum, 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 bum. And then footers. Pretty much the same as this node, except it's using... This looks a little bit more complicated, but basically what it's doing is using geometry nodes to make the footers. Which, screenshot if you want, because, I don't know, going over, and those are all ones down there. But going over all this for building something with geometry nodes is a bit... if I do have something specific, I'll show it, but, you know, it's a bit too much. But pretty much the same thing is happening here with this node, except making sure that this doesn't follow, like this, like it's following the tangent, like just like in this node. Here we want we want the footer to point up always. So in order to do that, you kind of align the Z to face up here always, instead of whatever. That's basically like the setup to the support structure. So far I can use this for my project for Batman. I just need to create some toggles that make it invert friendly. Okay, because as you can see, I probably should shut that off. Here you can see that it does have some round roots, is what I've called them. But it also has, but it also has this like geometry for roots that are not a support, that just kind of requires some geometry. So we're gonna use the geometry there, but everywhere else will just be generated based off of the my brain is shutting off. Everything else will be generated based off the geometry nodes, except for this part here, because it just needs to be built out of mesh. And until I can figure out how to build it out of geometry nodes, that's just what we're gonna do. And then for this piece here, I would love to also build from geometry nodes, but I kind of have to figure out how to do that. Until then, this just might have to be manual. Now I'm thinking that I kind of messed up earlier. Yeah, whatever. I'll live. Boom, 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 dun, 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 dun. Also with this process, whoops. In the previous time I made this ride, I made it so the supports really didn't matter how they came out, because I was like, I just need where the footers are, because I was manually building each support. But because I have my system that I have now, I think what I need to do is go back and make sure these supports are actually looking the way that I need them to, so I can just instantly import them and not have to worry about rebuilding any of the supports. But since I'm pretty much just going over how the project works this episode, I can kind of like lay out what I need done. But pretty much the only thing that I need done for a presentation standpoint is just to get footers on all the supports that I did it, which are all the way over here. But in doing so, I'd like the system of the supports to all be consistent across the board. The hardest part of this ride is that wherever the supports are now are probably not going to be where they exist on the actual ride, because, well, No Limits doesn't do a really good job at this, but this is like the start, and can't really see, but there's a start and an end to each of these like square sections, and that's where the little gusset needs to go. And as you can see here, it's not lining up, but it only has to move a little bit over, so we'll have to figure out a way to do that. And I would love to use geometry nodes to get, actually, yeah. trying to look at their see how they built these right here. It looks like so you have a cube, 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 a plane, and a plane. So hopefully it isn't too difficult. I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. What else needs to be done? What else needs to be done? Trenches. I mean, I can just kind of model that in. I already have modeled them in, actually. I also moved this to be a little bit lower, which I'm thinking might have been a mistake. But since it's low, I still should be able to use these pieces from the other track. Okay. So okay, there we go. So let me get rid of this. So this is going to be generate invert supports. Or inverted. Inverted supports. Return on screencast keys. I'm fine splitting this in half if I have to. I'd rather not, but I can do that at least. So it's 2 different points here, but it's still one curve. I think I like that. That might be my solution. Actually no. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna do toggle root. On the root, I'm gonna borrow. I'm gonna append. Oh no, oh god. Nope, it's not here. It's in assets, coaster track, BNM invert, track blend, object. Three, 425. Let's do this one. Append. Okay, cool. So with this, I'm going to change it so that I'm gonna put the, actually let me convert this to mesh and then put the cursor right there, and then origin to 3D cursor, smooth that there. Okay, standard track connector, yada yada. Okay, so gonna add another here input, which is gonna be on the outside. It's gonna be an object. Default is gonna be this. Then we'll rename that whenever we need to. So we're gonna, it's called socket. Let's call it root. We're gonna put it into this root node, which I thought I didn't need, but I kind of forgot about this part. I'm gonna see if I can try to clean this up. So radius, actually, just put this down. Resolution, radius. How do you toggle on the grid? Okay, that looks a little cleaner. Probably isn't, but it looks a little cleaner. Root flange bolts. No. Root geometry. This is the same thing. Hold on, let's unhide that. Let's get rid of this for resolution. And then get rid of vertices, because that's literally the same thing. Oops. I'm moving stuff around, procrastinating. Okay, I need to make it so that circle toggle root, where is it? If toggle root is on, then it's going to instance this on this point. In the instance, mesh circle. We're not going to need this. Or the flange bolts. Or the cylinder. So I just sat there and created all that for no reason. So we don't need this. We don't need this. Get rid of this. All of this we can delete. Don't need this as well. Dun, dun. I'm trying to think while doing all this, even though it doesn't matter. Okay. Need the group input. We're gonna need this here. This geometry is gonna go there. Okay, so I want it to attach here, but on the Y, it seems. Bum, 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 bum. Alright. So the Z, it is the Y. Okay, so it needs to attach on the Y axis. Probably pivot there. X, pivot X. There we go. Why does it do that? Don't like that. No. Auto. There we go. That's what I want. So you can have it go where it needs to go, but let's do cursor. Let's make this vertex. Okay. Huh. Not sure why it's doing that, but if it were like this, it would be there. The only thing that I don't like is that there's this gap. So I think what I need to do I need to make two versions of it. Should I make two? Toggle root. And then I can have a switch here that's like, if it's on, then do this. But if it's on and it's vertical, then it fills in this gap here. And by sliding it down. What do we do here? What do we do? What do we do? What do we do? Would it be a better user interface to add another toggle that says vertical versus horizontal? toggle root. Mm, 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 mm. Let me go back. Let's just get rid of the toggle. Flanges and root. Let's do horizontal root and then vertical. This isn't the actual mesh itself, but let's pretend it is for a second. This is 0.275. Okay. So for root, toggle root, let's change that to horizontal. Vertical, let's go back one and connect vertical to vertical. Okay, so in here, let's duplicate these two. And this is going to be vertical. So this output is going to be the false. And then this. Let's do set position. What takes this, and the offset is going to be in the Y by 0.275. Just kidding. Horizontal, not vertical. Let me get rid of this. Oh, I see what's happening. There we go. So, vertical is working. Vertical, horizontal. There we go. And because of how we set this up, it only can detect one. The ladder. So horizontal should be default because this is going to change it. Oh, and the reason this is good, again, let me. Because let's say it's. Huh. It's doing weird stuff. Oh, because there's a Y offset instead of a position. Let me get rid of that. We do transform. Translation Y. 0.275. What the heck? The heck? Oh, because it's not the Y. Ha 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 ha. It's the x? No, but it is the z. Okay, so we're gonna go minus 0.275. Okay, there we go. So let's say that this was a support here. No, not delete. And that was just our support. We would have the horizontal one here. But if we, or sorry, the vertical. If we got rid of that, it would be the horizontal, which is right in the middle, which is what we would want. Okay, cool. I can go back. So horizontal, vertical. I don't know why the math is working the way that it is with the other one. And maybe I can work that out a time that is not right now. Because what? I'm also gonna make this into a combine XYZ and the Z. Let's copy. Put that there. Let's rename this root radius. Even though I guess it's not really a radius, but it is the point from like the middle to the outside, so that's what we're gonna call it. I'm gonna get rid of this there. So far we do have our system down, minus the plate at the bottom. This one. Big stretch. Okay. I'm thinking of what? I also think that this needs to join here so it can have its own like material. What material is it using? I see. I see. Being a member. Okay. So basically we can texture this on our own because we want it to look a certain way. Which means okay. Where so here, what I want to do, because I can go in a whole rabbit hole with this. I would rather dedicate some time to that specifically. But what I'm going to do is go to flanges now. Oh god. I'm going to clean this up before I barf. Get rid of this. This is going to be coal first, coal last. Alright. Resolution and radius. This is just resolution. It's probably a better way to lay these out, but this is what we got so far. This needs to be the top one. Oops. Toggle flanges. Mm, 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 mm. Okay, so on here, what is this? Generate flanges. Okay, so for the flanges, I just need to change, I think, this value here. Yeah. Let's make this 1.2. Yeah. And the depth 0.5 or 0.5. So then for the bolts, the depth is going to be divided by 2. And then the, this right here, it's also going to be 1.2? No. Oh no, because it's smaller, yeah. 1.1. It's 2.05. Maybe 0.06. think I like that better. Because these are very like, or maybe it's just keep clicking on it. Generate flanges. Let's do 0.3. And then for the bolts, depth, let's divide that by 2 as well. So let's do 0.4. I like those. I like those a lot. Yeah, this support already looks more B&M like. Let me go here, like this, 0.25. Let's copy to selected. This just doesn't need to be here, but let's make that 0.2. Also, what you can see here is it went from like the small support to the big support, which I really like. So it's nice that we have that feature baked in, because here you'll have like these bigger supports here and these like smaller ones here. Bigger ones are more rounded and the smaller ones do look a little bit different, but save that for when we actually go into depth with it. We have 30 minutes left. Okay. 30 minutes left. And so far, trying inverted supports. Whenever I finish supports like this, I think what I want to do is link them into that utilities folder. Actually, at this point, I should just make a asset folder and put it in the asset library. I think I can do that. The organization can change whenever, so not too worried. I want to see if there's a better angle. Some of these supports. Right there. Okay. Let's do depth 0.4. Oops. Depth 0.4, which means the flange bolts need to be 0.45. 0.48. I'd like something divisible by 2 easily, thank you. Might have to be 0.5. Or I could do 5 too. My playlist is not looping. And I'm gonna get a copyright strike. Okay. So you can see those bolts. I think I like that 5.4 the best. Because you can actually see the detail somewhere else. It looks like the bolts are not painted, which makes it easier for me, but same thing with on the right as well. Yeah, they're pretty shallow, but still see them. scale this on the Y. G. Let the cursor go there. Scale on the. Nah, I've gotta do something else. Hmm. Okay, that's a little bit more acceptable. And I take back what I said here. I'm gonna put this back there because this does look the same. The only thing is I need to give more geometry to this because it now has 16 points instead of 8. So it looks less pointy there. Okay, so that's pretty much one support. Let me no, it's not what I wanted to do. Let's do set origin to 3D cursor. And then move, whoops, all of them there. Let's make another curve. Let's rotate Y90. Okay. Dum, 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 dum. Gonna get rid of the root. But we are gonna turn on flanges. They're already on. Okay. So let's subdivide. And let's get rid of the coal. Here we're going to subdivide, get rid of the coal. For the flanges look something more like that. And then here we'll do vertical root. Boom. Wait a second. I shouldn't have deleted all of that from earlier. Because we have one more false. This first one here. So if neither of these are together, then it needs to be default root. No. I'll do one more switch. Do that. This output is false. This needs to be duplicate item. inverted root. And we will need one of these. Low key, we could just like fill caps, go on about our day. But no, we shall not do that. Let's unfill all of these caps. What the heck? Copy to selected. Okay. Oh, okay, so generate flanges. We're gonna use that as the true. So generate flanges. We're gonna put that as true. Toggle, and it's gonna be true. Oh no, we can't do this. Because this also controls... inverted root. I can't use this because can't use this because here it's doing the start and end points. What I need is like the cylinder thing. So all of this. Let's make a group out of that. Why is there vertices and resolution? I like the way that looks. Mesh and geometry. Oh, join. Okay. So now here, let's just do flange. True. And then inverted root. Oh, we need to create it. Ha 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 ha. Duplicate. Inverted root. Inverted root. Inverted root. Ah, but it's putting it there instead of right flanges. That's root. If I put the origin here, set origin to 3D cursor, that seems to help, but I don't want it there. Don't want it at the origin. So this is what I want. Thing is that I want the origin to go there. And I don't want this to go there. So when I do vertical and horizontal, those two just exist where I need it to. Because the points are the geometry itself. I don't want it to be at the origin. Oh. 15 minutes. I might just have to just set the origin, because it's only one support that I have to worry about. Just put that there. Well, it's only one support on this project. If I do another invert, it could be multiple. Or if I do a, what's it called? A flying coaster. There's a possibility of me having multiple of these. Also, I know for the Horizontal root, vertical root. Actually, this is an inverted root. This is a vertical root. This will be horizontal. Hold on. Horizontal is inverted. Inverted root. A vertical root is a horizontal root because the track is horizontal at the time, right? Yeah. Horizontal root. An inverted root. It's gonna be. I might have to end the stream soon, actually, here, but this is gonna be standard root. Because I can also use this in any B&M file. So you have standard root, horizontal, inverted. Yeah. And this is just standard. Alright, sweet. I like that. I think coming back, I want to work on footers and getting actual Batman footers here. Generate inverted supports. No. Let's name this B&M supports. Because now it's not just that. You will have to put the root in there though. I need to figure out why this one defaults to the origin, whereas the other ones don't. Actually, hold on. These two have transform properties on it. And the Z. No, because if you got rid of this. Hold on. I think it just answered me question. Hold on. Let's change geometry to 3D cursor. Let's go back in there. Okay. But this doesn't do anything. Oh, instance on points. The instance. True. And then the points is here. But it's only if this is selected. You should put this somewhere else, but for here, for now, that's where it's gonna go. Wait, pause. Duplicate. This is gonna go there. looks weird, but we're gonna do that. It's just doing it by default. I think I have the wrong. Yeah, this goes to true. There we go. But now horizontal is okay. I see. There we go. There we go. I kind of trolled with this instance on points thing. Wait a second. No. 6 degrees, why? Or 0.6, I don't know why that was there. Ah, because there was something here, got it, okay. Might not have to end stream early, I might though. It's not gonna be too much earlier because I only have 8 minutes max anyway. 7 minutes max. Okay, so we fixed, we fixed the issue at the top here. The only thing is that you have to split this into 2, which I don't like. But, I mean, that's kind of what we were doing with Poltergeist anyway. And all this is going into one folder, so I guess it doesn't really matter. Okay, so yeah, all this would go into one folder anyway, minus this. So it'll all go into one folder. Actually looks really good. It looks good now that I'm using 16, using a 16 resolution rather than 8 for supports. Of course it is a lot more costly. What is this? Resolution. Maybe that's what vertices was. Is there Control F? There is vertex namers. This is also very ugly, but I didn't make this, so I do not believe I will be changing it. Resolution. Like all this. Come on. Oh, I think I know what's happening here. Has nothing to do with this. Okay. Select all and make this poly. Yeah. Poly. So they just have to be poly instead of like NURBS or whatever. And that's way less geometry right there. I don't think that there's anything else I can add to the supports right now. But that is our updated, oh, excuse me. That is our updated support nodes. Flange bolts we do not need. So let's get rid of that. I think I can clean up this a little bit. So flanges and footers, okay. So let's do all of this. go in there. That's a lot of settings though. Alright. Flanges. Just make another panel. Roots. And then, whoops, have footers. There you go. I'll have flanges default open. The rest of them default closed. Maybe I'll have another panel called, yeah, flanges and footers. And see if I can put these inside into panel. I'm trying to do this so you can manage, have like multiple. No, you can't. Okay, so here the resolution needs to be up there. Yeah, fill caps can probably come to the bottom. Material and root. You can put root in roots. Roots. Yeah, I'm gonna end stream early. I'm over here working on it, and it's 5 o'clock now. Okay. So here, at least, it's a little bit more organized. Oh, working on this one. So you can at least choose which node you want. The only thing is, I need to adjust the order of the switch nodes. Because right now, if they're all kind of prioritizes whatever's on top. So I guess that's not horrible. But yeah, all right, I'm gonna leave it there. The what is this called? The connector, track connector thingy. The root. I'm gonna go over that mesh next time. Also, I'm glad now I don't really have to texture anything, which is really good because whatever color the paint is whatever color these roots are gonna be. Though I do prefer them to be silver, but maybe I can have a like bolt geometry node. And then whenever I figure out working shaders, I feel like then I can have it all procedurally made that way. But until then, it's just going to be this color. Though I do like silver because you can actually see the contrast between everything. which I feel like helps in video games to actually get you to see the detail there, or with 3D models and stuff. So yeah, next time I'll work on some of the actual modeling of the supports and the this and all that. Because now that I think about it, it doesn't really have to be the most dynamic thing ever, because I can always I think I can move. Actually, I don't know. I think I still might use geometry nodes if I have to adjust the size of this depending on, because as you can see here, this kind of clips into here, so this would be a little bit longer to fill in here. So this would be generated with more geometry nodes. But yeah, I'll get into that tomorrow, and that's what I'll be working on. All right, that's it. Goodbye. See you tomorrow, 3 o'clock Pacific. And also, because I know that this modeling isn't going to take the entire stream, after that I'll get into the track, and then generating the track based off of some parameters. And that'll be most of the stream, the rest of the stream. All right, see you tomorrow.